everyone, welcome to The Zest, the official podcast of Orange Coast Magazine. I'm Chelsea Ranieri, and today's guests are the founder of Juna, the Dana Point-based wellness brand that creates science-backed, plant-powered products that optimize the body, including their detox drops and enzymes, sleep gummies, and gut therapy. Juna is sold nationwide at places including Erewhon, Equinox, and Amazon. Thank you so much for being here today, Taylor, Lamb, and Jewel Zimmer.
Thank you so much for having us.
Of course. So I love this. We all have the same hairstylist. Shout out to Chris and Evans.
Yes.
I was getting my haircut and I was looking at the schedule and I saw Taylor's name on it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm literally interviewing her in a couple of weeks. But she just had the nicest things to say about you guys. And she loves your product as well. So
such a small world. I know. That was so funny. We went on the same day.
I know. What are the odds?
Yeah.
So we probably are on the same routine.
Yeah, she's the best. And I always she sees some really amazing people too.
I know. I was like, I should just hire her to book my guests for the podcast.
I mean, hairdressers, they sit with these women for, 3 hours every day. I mean, they hear all the stories. Some of my hairdressers know some of my biggest secrets and all about my life and vice versa.
So true.
So true. Well, I first learned about Juna at the Less is More pop-up, which funny enough, I am wearing the shirt. This was not planned. But my girlfriends and I tried your detox drops, and then you guys had the little ear seeds, which you all got too.
So we met you then.
Literally, I'm pretty sure with the ear seeds on me.
Yeah, we definitely met you then.
Yeah. But I love the detox drops. I love the gut therapy. So I've been so excited to get to talk with you guys. But before we dive into how you founded Juna, I would love to kind of take a look at both of your backgrounds because you both have really interesting stories. So Taylor, you are Juna's chief marketing officer and you've done marketing for brands including Lunya, Gorjana, and Cleobella. What first drew you to marketing?
Yeah, so my background is really in branding and design, but I minored in marketing. I was always fascinated by, the psychology behind what makes us buy. What is the difference between, one product versus another, and it really stems back to the marketing and the branding. And so I think, my background, I've been in the growth marketing, digital marketing space for, over a decade, over 12 years now. And it's primarily been in the fashion and jewelry space. I helped launch Lunya, which was also very focused around sleep, which has come back now with Juna. And then with Gorjana and the jewelry space and Cleobella in the fashion space, there was a very common thread. It was this premium customer or this, female customer. And, I kind of wanted to bring some of that same fashion marketing and that high-end branding to the supplement space. You walk into a vitamin store or scroll on Amazon and all the branding's so bad and they all start to blend in together. So, one thing is I really think Juna's branding stands out. Mm-hmm. And Jewel and I wanted to create a brand that resonated for us. And that stems from, visually with the product, bottles and labels and all of that to the marketing. And with marketing, it's pretty insane, but 85% women in the US make up 85% of the purchasing power. So it really is up to women, what they're buying and why. And there's a lot of options out there. So I think it's really important to be relatable and relevant and meet her where she's at.
Definitely. And I read some of the companies that you started out with or marketing for were startups. And I'd imagine that's a lot more challenging than doing marketing for an established brand. One, is that true? And then two, how do you come up with strategies for newer companies?
I would say there's pros and cons to both. The pros to running marketing for a startup is that there's less risk involved. So you can take, you can take risks and you can try new things, where I feel like with some of these really established brands, there's a lot of red tape. Everything moves really slow. You can't jump on trends as fast because everything's planned out so far in advance, where with a smaller brand, it's more nimble and flexible. You can take more risks and try new things and have a little bit more fun with it. So I'd say that's probably the biggest difference between doing it for a small brand versus a large brand. And I think you have the opportunity to, I think, just be more creative, because maybe you have lower budgets. So you have to be super creative. You have to have the hustle. You have to, try things that other people aren't, to see what's going to really stand out and grab the customer's attention.
Definitely. And honestly, like, I had seen Juna before I had even been to that event. So your marketing definitely has worked. It's very eye-catching.
Good to know.
Yeah. And you're studying at Cornell right now, right?
I am. I'm studying medicinal plants at Cornell, which has been so amazing. I think, I've always been more on the marketing side. Jewel's like our expert ingredient master. And I think, what I really wanted to do was bring more education to our customer, and more education incorporated into our marketing. So I felt like the best way to do that was for me to educate myself first, so I can, then take all that information and figure out what's like an easy to digest way to communicate these really powerful messages to the consumer.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I'm sure it's really fun to like learn about all that stuff too.
Yes, it definitely is. It kind of makes me think back of, because we learn a lot about ancient medicinal medicines, and so often, all of Juna's products are plant powered, but it's just interesting how we've gotten so far away from that. It's like all medicine stems from plants, yet everything, just like food, with convenience, food, we saw the same shift happen. It got cheaper and quicker. It was all about that. And all of a sudden we're looking at what's in our food now, and we're like, oh my God, it has 90 ingredients for, something so simple. And it's sort of what happened with supplements and medicines and drugs too, is like they all stem from plants, but all of a sudden they got synthesized, and they're manufactured in labs, and it's cheaper, faster, easier, more controlled, versus looking at what it all stemmed back to was plants and Mother Nature.
Right. Yeah, so we can go back all we want, but at the end of the day, nothing can calm us down like nature. We always say nature is the best chemist, and it truly is. And in fact, all of the pharmaceuticals were stemmed from a plant at one time. So It's extremely profound if you think about it in that way.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that, because so I went to Europe with my husband a few years ago, and he caught like a cough on the plane, and we were in France, and he went to a pharmacy and they gave him like a cough medicine, and I looked it up, and it was just berry juice. Like it was some sort of berry that was supposed to help suppress the cough. And it didn't work as well as like Dayquil, but it still helped him.
Yeah. French pharmacy is a thing. People go to France just for the French pharmacy halls, because there's stuff over there that is not over here. And there's also thousands and thousands and thousands of chemicals that are put in our supplements and our beauty products that aren't allowed over in Europe at all, specifically France.
Yeah, we were working on some of our strategy for the upcoming months, and the whole team was so surprised to learn that 90% of supplements have added fillers, and it just that, along with over 70% of supplements in the US have false claims. So they're not third-party tested. They either don't have the exact levels in it that they're claiming to, or some don't even have even those ingredients. So it's kind of crazy. and also really sad.
Yeah.
That, even outside of the supplement space, but the amount of ingredients in our beauty products and our food that you go to Europe and they're completely banned.
Yeah, the makeup thing, I just saw that talc is in a lot of eyeshadows, and I was like, okay, I need to find one that doesn't have that. And it's really hard to find one that does not have talc in it.
Yeah.
But so Jewel, you are Juna's CEO, and prior to that, you were a fine dining pastry chef, and you had a line of chocolates. How did that come about?
Well, I always say I was a pastry chef in a past life, and it truly feels like one. I've been in the wellness industry and an entrepreneur actually for way longer than I was ever a fine dining pastry chef. But I was a fine dining pastry chef in my early 20s. I grew up in the food industry, and so it was a natural progression to me. And what I will say about that experience was that it has informed every single step of my entrepreneurship, my mindset, and how I go about thinking all things business, from product development to having a conversation with Taylor to looking at spreadsheets, every single thing. And the first thing that you learn, honestly, when you walk in a fine dining kitchen is, one, you know nothing, and two, everything is possible, right? Because if you know everything, if you know something, then what's possible, right?
Yeah.
So it's this constant challenge to really push the boundaries and think outside the box.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
And so tell me about the chocolates that you made, the line of chocolates.
Oh, yeah. So after I left the fine dining world, I left actually after my first daughter was born, because it just it just wasn't possible to have a small baby and be working 12 to 14 hours a day anymore.
Yeah.
So I wanted to launch a chocolate company. I'd always had like a deep love for chocolate and been I loved working with it. I loved eating with it. I loved that it was very nuanced, like wine. I'm also a level 1 sommelier. And back to, this mindset of, trying to think in a different direction, I kept asking myself, well, how can I launch a chocolate company in a different way? So I really went back to the root of like, what is chocolate? Where does it come from? What's inside of it? Why does it make us feel so good? Why do we crave it? Right? And cacao in itself is a superfood, and it's full of amazing antioxidants and polyphenols, and actually even cannabinoids in it to help really calm the body and also stimulate the body, arouse the body even. I mean, we've heard that chocolate's an aphrodisiac, right?
Yeah.
Especially like in ancient Mayan traditions. So I took a really deep dive into the medical components and experiential components. And I started working with a chemist in France, actually. And together we started extracting all of these naturally occurring polyphenol antioxidants and mood enhancers from the cacao bean. We then found really, really small farms, cacao plantations from different parts of the world. And we partnered with them, and we infused this extract back in this really, really beautiful single origin dark chocolate. And this was back in 2000. Honestly, I can't remember if it's 2008 or 2009 at this point. But the idea was that there's so much beauty and so much going on inside of us. Like, it was this first real epiphany moment for me that there's so much beauty within. And so I pitched it to Barney's New York initially versus any type of natural grocer, because I think from being in fine dining all those years, I just knew that demographic so well. And I knew that they would like understand like everything and all the thought and all the luxury, honestly, that was involved in the product. And so I pitched it to Barney's. I didn't know anyone there. I sent the head buyer a package, and the morning it arrived, it was 10 a.m. Pacific time. So it was in the afternoon there. She called and she's like, I want to launch it at every store on the cosmetic floor. She's like, this is the future of beauty. She's like, I know it. It's food, and it is this. And that was a really big moment for me, where I really started to think. I was also like a new mom and going through this crazy postpartum journey. And I started looking at food so differently because, of being informed this mindset and really trying to think in different directions and outside of the box. And I started thinking, wow, like I've been creative with food all these years. I understand flavor and nuance and how to build flavor and texture, but I really was never truly thinking about like the medicinal quality of what I was eating and the value that was actually adding to the health of my brain, Right. So from there, the rest is kind of history. And I started going down a deep dive and exploring other different plants and molecules that we could extract. And from my own personal experience of, really needing support with, energy, mental health, sleep, the rest is kind of history. But it did start a little before that, though. I have to say that working in fine dining is extremely taxing, not just physically, but, mentally. The challenge, even just to keep up creatively, can be really taxing. And I did take what I call the sabbatical about halfway through my fine dining career, and I managed a spa. And in that year and a half, I studied shiatsu massage. I studied Swedish massage, and I actually studied a little bit of traditional Chinese medicine and was about to move my career into wellness way before then, and then just kind of like got a really great experience back in the restaurant world, came back in. But eventually, if you follow your authenticity, if you follow what truly speaks to you, it just keeps showing up over and over again. And I think that's what happened to me. And I was so connected to the restaurant world. Honestly, I think about it so much. And it was because of that mindset. It was because of that birthing something, creating something, and constantly trying to think differently about it.
So interesting. And just a quick side note, is your chocolate line still available?
It's not. We actually sold it back in 2015, I think. Yeah.
Bummer. Well, I saw that you're a brain health coach at Amen Clinics. I actually interviewed their head of PR for this podcast, and she was amazing. So I know a little bit about it, but how did you become a brain health coach?
Yeah. So, just to clarify, I don't work for the Amen Clinics, but I'm certified by the Amen Clinics.
Certified. Got it.
Honestly, as Taylor was saying with Cornell, it's so important to us as founders of a wellness brand. We take it very seriously, putting other people's health in our hands, and we really want to inform ourselves, what's going on in the body, and learn as much as we can so that we can be the best experts and help everyone as best as we possibly can. And so brain health, mental health, it's constantly, it's everywhere. We have so much information coming to us at one time. It's impossible for our bodies to metabolize. I have 2 children, they're struggling with all of this. And I just thought, what an amazing opportunity. The Amen Clinics is right here. Dr. Amen's a world-renowned psychiatrist. What if I go and learn about this and see how it can help, myself, my family, and the people around me, and my, Juna's customers as well. And what really surprised me taking the course was, well, one, how much I learned, and how much I knew that was reiterated, how much I learned, how much I started to understand how the brain was just completely connected to our gut, completely connected to our weight, completely connected to our longevity. These kinds of things were blowing me away. Seeing scans of what helps the brain, what hurts the brain, things that you can do to really heal the brain, seeing a damaged brain, from, mold toxicity, or an athlete who has been severely injured, or somebody who's been in a car accident, and then seeing these brain scans and seeing how Dr. Amen was able to repair the brain. I actually became really compelled to serve as a brain health coach, which was a little complicated because we also run this company together. It's hard to do a lot of things at once. So
we were able to take everything that Jewel learned and incorporate that into and infuse that knowledge into the Juna brand.
Yeah.
And I think, with Juna, Jewel and I, we just told you, have very different backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing we have are the shared experiences, working really hard, working really long hours, lots of stress, and both being mothers. And so, we were struggling and got so tired of going to the doctor and them pulling out a prescription pad, and instead of really getting to the root cause of the issues we were experiencing, everyone's just got so used to masking the problem versus getting to that root cause or that issue. And so, with Juna, we've kind of looked at what we were personally experiencing through our journeys, and also what, our friends and family were going through, and started at the top with these top problems that that everyone collectively is having to deal with, and trying to find the solution or help with, solving those problems. And for some of those problems, it led us down these additional paths, like Jewel learning more about that gut-brain connection, and then bringing that knowledge back to Juna so we could, really work on developing this gut therapy product that optimizes that gut-brain connection.
Wow. I love that you guys take so much research and stuff and then put it into your company. I don't know very many brands that do that, unfortunately.
It's true. It's true. I mean, it becomes our brand, in a sense of like becoming, gaining so much information, right? So that we can help. 100%. Otherwise, what we see a lot in the supplement industry, and to some degree, it's true in the beauty industry as well. 90% of the brands are doing the same. They have the same products. The ingredients are just rearranged.
Same
manufacturer, same everything. It's
same protocol, different branding.
And so we really wanted to rethink everything, and not do what we saw was working on Amazon or on so-and-so's website. But we wanted to do something that we truly knew was clinically backed by science and that worked.
Yeah. And I think one thing from my background being in marketing for so long is one of the most important things to make a brand successful is that repeat purchase. And you can't get that repeat purchase if your products don't work.
True.
Plus, we didn't ever want to put our names behind something that didn't work.
Exactly.
So that was very important to us. It had to, be third-party tested and really had to be effective at solving that problem. And so that was, top of the top paramount for us when we went to develop each one of these products. And we've been our own guinea pigs since day one. And we can, truly say that every single one of the products that we've designed and developed has been a true passion. Like, so much has gone into each and every one, from the iterations and the testing and just everything. We stand behind every single product wholeheartedly, and that's probably why each one of them has won a prestigious award too, which we never set out to do. But
no, we didn't.
It's great that people are recognizing them. Yeah.
Wow. So tell me a little bit about the products and the problems that they solve. And then also if you can add in which ones have awards, because that's really cool that you achieved that.
They all have awards, actually.
Oh, wow. Oh my God. Congratulations.
Well, we'll start with, I think, sleep, because that's one of the top problems we're facing. I mean, from the schedule and sensory overload and what that's doing to, all the blue light that we're exposed to. Women and men are experiencing a really hard time, not only just falling asleep, but staying asleep. And getting that deep restorative sleep. So when we went to design our nightcap product, our nightcap sleep gummies, we knew that we wanted them to not only help people, fall asleep, but unlike, prescription sleep aids, it's not just about knocking someone out. It's about increasing that level 3 deep sleep when our cells renew, when it totally restores our brain,
our skin.
So the cell turnover is with our skin, it's with our brain and our bodies, and it's that deeply restorative sleep. And so we started there and looking at the ingredients, like passion flower, which is clinically proven to help increase that level 3 deep sleep, and then some of the additional nutrients that needed to go in there to help that ease into that relaxed state to help you fall asleep, and then the ingredients to help keep you asleep.
I mean, sleep affects everything, right? It affects how our body detoxifies itself. It affects our gut health. It affects our productivity, our brain health, our relationships, our stress levels. And in fact, it really works closely with our cortisol, which is our stress hormone. Mm-hmm. So if you're not producing an adequate amount of melatonin a night and your body is not utilizing it properly in that stage 3 deep sleep, then when you wake up in the morning, your cortisol is completely off. So we're supposed to have a high cortisol spike in the morning, and that helps us like get ready for the day. That like energizes us to wake up and become productive. But at some point that needs to drop off. Otherwise we're just like anxious all day long.
Yeah.
And so not getting that restorative sleep, we're very anxious and stressed. The cortisol is high, which is creating inflammation in the body, which is creating all sorts of chronic health issues. And, there's so many interesting stats out there. I mean, not sleeping can cause depression. If you have depression, you are at 4 times greater risk for Alzheimer's later in your life.
Wow, no way.
Yeah, same with sleep. If you're not sleeping, I think in our culture too, we have this mindset like, oh, I sleep 6 hours a night and I'm fine. That's all I need. I can get everything done. But what we're starting to understand is the science behind that and what that means. If you're getting 6 hours of sleep for 20 years of your life, what that means when you're in your 50s and 60s, what the damage that's actually done on your brain and on yourself.
Yeah, that's scary.
And you're at that much more risk of, Alzheimer's and dementia, which, if we know that, we're just going to prioritize our sleep.
Right. Definitely. So you mentioned a little bit before that a lot of other supplements have like a lot of filler in them. Is there any way for people to differentiate between like products like yours that don't have that versus products that do? Like, because it's hard to tell.
It's very hard to tell. You definitely want to look for a few signs. So find products that clearly state that they're third-party tested. And you have to do, it's tedious, but doing a deep dive on the ingredients and seeing what's actually in those products and making sure you can back it up with that third-party verified testing.
And a lot of products will, that don't have filler will say filler-free.
Oh God!
A lot don't, legal? Right? So.
Oh my God, that sucks.
And the nightcap gummies; those are our number one bestseller, and they have won an award too for, I think it was the most innovative wellness product of the year by the Beacon Awards. So I think that's a great place to start because so many people are either not sleeping well or looking to optimize their sleep because of the benefits that come from that. Like what Jewel mentioned. Jewel has an Oura ring too, so she tracks her sleep.
Nice.
And it's amazing to see not only her sleep levels when she's, using the nightcap gummies, but then when you incorporate some of the gut products that we have and the digestive products, how that impacts the sleep too. So we also have our detox enzymes, which are one of my favorite products that we have. My whole life, I struggled with digestive issues. And so it was something that I was really passionate about and came to Jewel, we got to solve this problem. I'm not pooping every day. I get really bloated and constipated. And, it kind of got worse, I think, after having children.
Interesting.
And I think that probably, with the hormones and everything like that shifts your microbiome. And pretty much everyone's microbiome's a little off, just with the modern diet. And, it's kind of crazy because 90% of the food in grocery stores didn't exist 90 years ago. And neither did 90% of the diseases that we're currently faced with. And so that's a huge topic. 74% of women have digestive issues, and cancer is extremely on the rise. I'm sure you've seen it's like all over TikTok and Instagram too, about the rise in colon cancer. And it's actually number 1 for men now for cancers, and number 2 for women. Especially for people under 50. So that's kind of crazy when you think about it. And that's directly tied to our modern diet and lifestyle. So I wasn't alone with some of the issues I was experiencing, especially after talking to our customers and friends and family. So we set out to, really optimize the gut. It's where the majority of our serotonin, dopamine, and immunity stems back to our gut health. So we knew that if we wanted to, optimize people's wellness and their lives, that we had to start with the gut, because that's the foundation of our own health and inflammation in our bodies. So I'd say that gut health is the foundation of Juna too, in our product line.
Amazing. Sorry, just go back really quick. Did you say that products that have filler will say filler free?
They should, yeah. On their website or on the package, yeah, they should.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it. Okay, so tell me about the work that you guys do with Girls Inc. I saw on your website that a portion of your proceeds go towards this nonprofit for the year. Why did you guys choose them?
We actually support 4 different nonprofits.
Oh, wow.
So we work with this company called Beam Impact, and they're an amazing company that it's actually like a software company, but they're able to add within the checkout. So if you add something to cart on junaworld.com and go to checkout, you get to choose where your 1% give back goes. And so we have 4 different nonprofits there, and they support different things. So it can really align with the customer's value, whether you want to support, young girls and them entering STEM programs, or if you want to support, the environment and rebuilding that. So it really goes back to like that, value marketing, and, letting people support what aligns with their own values. So we work with a number of different charities. Beam is our partner through that. And it makes it really cool because, they'll only work with charities and organizations that are like certified, where that the money is going to the organization versus to their marketing or their pockets. So they do all like the really deep dive, dirty work to figure out, where everything's going, and it's all certified. And so that's why we've chosen to work with them. And it's amazing seeing how many other brands also have that as part of their checkout experience. Cleobella is one of them. Moon Juice is another. So it's great that spreading, where, if women have 85% of that purchasing, and, they're shopping as much as they are, then, it's really nice that it can also go to a good cause.
Definitely. And then tell me a little bit about the scientists that create your products and the farms that you guys use to get plant ingredients from.
We have 2 doctors that work with Juna on our board. Yeah, we have Dr. Jacqueline Tolentino. She is a women's hormonal health expert. She's actually based here in Southern California. She was the lead women's doctor over at Parsley Health, and she actually just announced a new lead job for a company called Love Life, which is opening, I believe it's their first location, but I'm not 100%. And I think it's in, honestly, I think it's like in Marina Del Rey or Manhattan Beach or something. Okay. It's the original founder of Whole Foods, John Mackey.
Oh, wow.
So the vision is absolutely insane. but that's a whole other conversation. Jacqueline's amazing. She works on all of our formulas with us, and we actually have another doctor, Dr. Minshu. He's an MD. He's also a functional medicine doctor. He's got a master's in Chinese medicine, and he also studied cancer. He also worked in cancer research for 10 years, and has been amazing asset to Juna's formulations. We really like Taylor and I, through our customers and through our own experiences, come up with the problem. It seems pretty obvious. And then we go to the experts and we say, how are we going to solve this? And, both of our doctors come at it from very different places. Dr. Minshu comes at it from all of these angles of medicine that he's, studied. And then Jacqueline comes at it from a women's health expert, right? And what does a woman need? And so,
and how does it impact, her age, her hormones, the different levels that might not have been studied, since a lot of studies are just with men.
Right. That's incredible. And then what about the farms that you guys support?
Yeah. Well, once we have like this, the ingredients that our experts believe can help solve that problem, that's one step. The next step is, working with the manufacturer to create this product. And what we found, like Jewel was saying, with even the beauty industry and all the products being the same, and same with the wellness, we found that it was so difficult to get a manufacturing partner to step out of the norm with us, to step out of the box, especially when it came to creating, nightcap sleep gummies. We felt so strongly to not have sugar in it, not have the product loaded and coated with sugar, because we felt it was so counterintuitive for a wellness product, and especially a sleep product, to have sugar involved. Right. And we went to all the top gummy manufacturers, and they're like, nope, this is how we do it, coated or loaded with sugar, and so it took so long to develop that product and perfect it, because of, we had to find the right partners to try new things and to go down that journey and experiment with us. And so that was, that's a big part of it, is the manufacturer, and then sourcing the best of the best ingredients.
Yeah, and so that's where the farms really come in, is just like every ingredient that we source, because we are powered by plants, is making sure that these plants haven't been grown with any herbicides or pesticides. That's really, really, really important to us. So we always use organic, and sometimes we even go above and beyond organic and use biodynamic, or even wild. We've used wild ginseng. So that's really important to us, because it's super contradictory to offer somebody a supplement if it's got a product in it that's got pesticides.
Yeah, right.
And that we also in our third-party tests, it not only tests for the efficacy of the product and the ingredients, but making sure that it upholds our zero tolerance for any pesticides and chemicals. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Well, are there any new products in the works or anything that listeners should keep an eye out for that you guys want to shout out?
We're not unveiling anything today.
You said that, because I probably would have said. One of the things that we're really passionate about is, putting the power of your own health into your hands. So that is something we're really passionate about. It should be easy. It should be accessible to all, not just, the top 1% that have the funds to meet with the best of the best doctors and functional medicine doctors and explore these things. So we're really passionate about that, and we're working towards making that more accessible, not only for our customers, but for everyone.
Yay. Well, I'm literally going to re-up on all of my products after this. But before I let you go, I have 3 final questions for you guys that we call the Thoughtful 3. So what was the best advice that you received when you were first starting Juna?
Oh, well, One I always like to go back to is I actually heard it from the founder of Spanx. And if you're not failing, then you're not trying. Or not trying enough. So that's one thing, is being okay to fail. The current Juna brand today is much different than the brand we started 5 years ago. So we've pivoted, we've been flexible, we've hustled, and we've failed. And we've kept going. We use those failures to help inform what's next in our future decisions and how to improve and how to be better. So that would be one of them for me.
Yeah.
I would say like authenticity. The best advice, that was ever given to me was to truly be authentic to who you are, and that will translate in your products. And then, like everything's like back to my, my chef mentors, like there's no box.
I love
you can
that.
do anything. Like where there's a will, there's a way. And we've definitely had to like really push those boundaries a few times. And one of them was with the gummies, when we designed the first, sugar-free gummy, where we replaced the sugar with a prebiotic fiber. So,
oh, wow. That's so cool.
Yeah. So we take our time and we don't rush things until we're super happy with them. So I think like pushing boundaries and authenticity, those were the number 1, 2 things.
Yeah.
Number 2, those were the things.
And then what about the worst advice that you received, or advice that you chose not to take?
The first thing that comes to mind is all these conversations we've had with potential investors. And, when we first started the brand and some of those early conversations, it was the era of these unicorns. So those were like the Glossiers, the Outdoor Voices, the Bonobos, the Harrys, and these like very, digital marketing centric D2C brands that, scaled extremely fast through ads and digital marketing. And so what happened was when the landscape shifted with privacy laws, with digital marketing, with competition on, Instagram and Facebook with digiral marketing, it became a lot harder to acquire those customers and a lot more expensive. And so brands were pushing way too much money into ads and skewing growth a little bit with that. And so I think one of the things we kept hearing in the beginning was, it's all about your gross revenue. It's all about, that gross revenue and how fast you can scale. And what we've seen in recent years is that's not a sustainable way to build a profitable brand. So we kept on our path of making, hustling, making the conscious decision to aim for profitability over that inflated gross revenue number. And I think that helped us make some really hard but good decisions along the way.
Yeah.
I've interviewed other people on here who have said like slow growth is the better way to go than scaling super quickly. That's true. Yeah. It makes for, I think, a brand that actually has longevity, like really woven into it. Yeah.
And, just to weave a little brain health in here, dopamine is the reward hormone in our brain. It's the reward neurotransmitter. And so I was actually just reading about this yesterday, so it's top of mind. If you have these big spikes, like your brain and your body are just like, they're satisfied. There's no need to push. There's no need to continue going. Like you've already, like in your body and your brain, like you've already accomplished.
Interesting.
So it's really good to work in a way that keeps you in the pursuit, right? That keeps you in the pursuit and the journey, so that you don't have this big, like, you feel like, oh, I've made it, like I'm here, because then your body starts to respond differently to your work.
Right. I feel like our culture is so about immediate gratification right now, though.
Exactly. It's all about this immediate gratification. Yeah. So, you should, even when you're working on something, you can tell people, what you're working on today, but, don't tell them what you're working towards. Because as soon as you do that, you give your brain that instant gratification, and then it starts to change the way that it moves forward.
Kind of like how our brains don't know the difference between dream reality versus reality.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, literally, sometimes I'll wake up and I'll be like, did I actually say that, or was that in the dream?
Yeah. And what happens in our dreams, like our brain thinks it's real. So if you have like that really scary or stressful dream and you wake up and your like heart's kind of pumping and you're like, oh,
I hate when that happens too. It's the worst feeling.
Or like sometimes in my dream, my husband will, do
Cheat?
something. Do something, like, or be a dick or whatever. And I wake up and I'm mad at him and he's like, what did I do? And I'm like, nothing, but in my dream you did. Piss me off.
Like, that's so real. Yeah. And then lastly, what advice do you guys have for someone who's looking to get into the wellness space?
I mean, I think you really have to be passionate about it. I think passion is, like Jewel said, the number one driver for us. We were trying to solve our problems first, and with that came a lot of passion. I think and authenticity. So I think that would be my number one advice. Like, do not do it unless you are extremely passionate about it, because it is hard work. I think that reigns true for any new business. I mean, it's you got to love it, because if you don't, it won't last. It's really hard. It's not for the heart.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I agree. Passion, purpose, come at it from the heart,
Yeah.
It makes a difference.
I mean, and that stems back to our products and our marketing. We will never put out a product that we personally would not want, need, or love. And same with our marketing. Like, there's not an email we'll send that we don't ourselves find personally valuable, or at least fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. This is so much fun. You guys are so incredibly interesting. I had so much fun talking with you.
Oh, thanks, Chelsea.
Of course.
I'm talking to you.
We'll have to line up our hair appointments to land.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
sure. Crossover.
Yeah, definitely. All right.